Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Courtside Convo. I'm Dan Doskey from LGW MediaWorks and Legal Graphicworks, and my guest today is Chandler Gasser. She is an attorney. She also works with us on our jury consulting team. Chandler, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So tell us how you got your start in the legal business. Take us as far back as you want to go.
Okay. Well, I always had an interest in the legal industry from as long as I can remember. So I went into college actually thinking I wanted to be a jury consultant, but then I started as a psychology major and just was not enjoying the courses in the undergraduate program as much as I expected. So then I kind of decided to pivot. I wanted to do law school, so I switched to political science. So I ended up graduating from the University of Southern Mississippi with a undergraduate degree in political science with a minor in psychology.
Southern Miss to the top. Yep, I understand.
SMTTT. From there, I went to law school at Florida State. Go Noles. So
I can't go with you on that one. Cannot go with you on that one, but okay.
Yeah, so I got my degree from there, and then I went into just general civil private practice for several years. I did a little bit of everything, representing sheriff's departments locally, personal injury, just general, wills, estates, litigation, that kind of stuff. Heavy emphasis on family law at one point. So kind of just a little bit of anything and everything, whatever they threw at me for a little while there. And then when LGW started this division, I came on board along with Elizabeth Parker. And we've been rocking and rolling doing that for a little while now and really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been really fun to work with you guys. So I didn't realize that this was like a full circle thing, kind of brought you back to something you always wanted to do.
Yep. And when I talked to Jim Lucas, the president and CEO of Legal Graphicworks, after he brought me on, he didn't even fully realize that either. And he was like, really? Wow, perfect. Happy that worked out. Like, me too.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us about that. It's a really fascinating thing, and I think it provides a lot of value for attorneys. So what's the process like? How do people, get engaged with you and Liz and, get something on the books?
Yeah, so we do a very wide array of things. So I think a lot of people hear jury consulting and they think about, the TV show Bull, which is a great show and it's given us a lot of exposure in the sense that people know that we are out there and that we do those kinds of things. But what we do goes a lot further beyond just what you see on those kinds of TV shows. So we do anything from actually assisting in jury selection like you see on TV, which would be either in courtroom or we can do it virtually depending on preferences and the needs of the client. But we also do a lot of focus groups and mock trials, more research-oriented activities, so to speak, much further before trial. And those we've found to be invaluable. A lot of clients think, have told us that, they've come out of it and had a totally different view on their case compared to where they were when they went in. So those are really interesting. Mock trial, I think everyone can kind of envision what that would be. It's just basically you do a trial in a mock setting and see what the outcome is. Focus groups we found to be honestly even more helpful. They are more issue oriented. So if you're just worried about the damages of your case, you can test the damages aspect. Or if you're just worried about liability, you can test that. You can even get as specific as testing a witness. So if you're concerned that your witness may not come across well, may not test well, so to speak, we can have that witness come in for the focus group, put on their testimony, and then get the focus group participants, mock jurors, perspective on how that went and their take on that witness. So you can really get down to very specifics if you have a very specific concern, or you can do it very broadly, both of which we've found to be very, very helpful for our clients.
Yeah, it's very different, right? Somebody, you can prepare a witness, but if they're either sitting in front of a room of people in person or virtually, it's a different dynamic, right?
Correct. Yeah. So a lot of people think they're going to, knock it out of the park with being a witness, and then they get in front of a room full of people, a judge staring at them, a bailiff, and all the other people. it's a very different atmosphere. So while we can't get a judge and a real bailiff in our focus groups, we can get a panel of people that resemble a jury in the jurisdiction where the case would happen, and put them in a setting that mirrors a courtroom with, the jury being seated the way they would be, all those types of things, and get them as acclimated to what it would be in real life as possible and see how they do.
Yeah, and it's also like my kids play bat and ball sports, and reps are a big thing, right? Like reps, you need to get at bats. Like you just need time in the game to deal with what the game throws at you. And this is the same kind of thing, I think, for attorneys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they get sort of like a free shot to try stuff out, see how it goes, and then make an adjustment and be better the next time. Nobody is great the first time out.
Yeah, correct. We found that we have a lot of clients who come back from multiple focus groups. They run it, their case one way, the presentation one way the first time, and then they get the results and they think, maybe I need to not emphasize X as much as I thought. So let's do it again, and I'm gonna pare that back, and I'm gonna really push on this other line of questioning or this other fact pattern or whatever it is, and see where I get. So you can really use it to tinker with your case, so to speak, beforehand, before you're in front of the real jury and everything's on the line. So you can really play with different pieces, see how things go, tweak things. And we have the ability, which is really fun and interesting for a lot of people, to do some of that real time too. So if we have a plan going into one of these focus groups or even the mock trials and those other things, whether we're in person or doing it virtually, we're in constant contact with the attorneys for the case, our clients. So if they're hearing feedback from the focus group participants and their red lights going off and they're saying something there I want to dig into, or where are they picking up on that from, we're able to in real time pivot and address those new questions or delve deeper into something that we weren't necessarily planning to, and kind of just see where it goes real time and get that real time feedback.
Yeah, and you guys also, it should be said, do a great job facilitating with these groups. So if there's an impasse or something where people, can't agree, either introduce an idea that they hadn't thought of before, figure out a way to get them to the finish line.
Yeah, so we usually will have the group appoint a foreperson, but because this is a much shorter time span than a normal trial and jury deliberation, we want to get them to kind of come to some kind of conclusion, at some point. So we try to push them to come to some kind of consensus, but we can also do, which I find very fascinating, a lot of times what we will do is we'll let them deliberate with one set of facts. And we let them deliberate and say, here, okay, what's your conclusion? And then if an attorney is very worried about one part of their case, whether it be, their client didn't show up for a drug test or something along those lines, and they're not sure how big of an impact that's going to have, we can hold that piece of information back, let them deliberate, and then say, well, what if I told you this? How does that change things? And you can really see how that one piece of information does or does not affect the outcome of the case. So it can tell you how much you need to get ahead of it or try and avoid it or whatever you need to do to get your case to where you need it to go. So we do a good bit of steering in the sense of, okay, well, what do you think about this? And here's what we need to determine as far as damages and liability, and we need a conclusion on this, and what do you think? And those kinds of things. But we can also really let them run with things as far as just giving them little tidbits and see how those things change the scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. So as somebody, who's been in the courtroom, how valuable is this to an attorney to kind of have these practice runs and get a look at the case ahead of time?
I mean, the limit does not exist. There were so many times in the courtroom for me as the attorney doing it where I, in my mind, had, mapped it all out. It's going to go this way, and this is what's going to happen. And they're going to say this, and then I'm going to say that. And then someone, either the judge or the witness or opposing counsel, someone throws you for a loop, and you are like, what next? So this is a way to kind of flush as much of that out as possible and deal with those panic moments when it's not such high pressure and everything's not, on the line. You can kind of test things, pivot as you need to. There's so many times where attorneys say, like, I didn't even think that the jurors were going to think that fact was relevant, much less so important. So then they have to go back and figure out, how do I deal with that? As opposed to in real time in the courtroom, flipping through your file, trying to figure out, well, what do I do now? You can go back and take your time and figure out what to do, as opposed to frantically trying to figure it out on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. That's never a good feeling. So how do people get in touch with you? Where do they look to find more information, get in touch, and learn more about jury consulting?
Yeah, so you can always reach out to me or Elizabeth Parker directly, but we also have our website, legalgraphicworks.com. You can submit through there. You can call the office. Really, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. However you want to do it, I'll get back to you.
Chandler, you are too young to even know what a beeper is, so I'm just going.
No, but that's impossible. I'm not too old for that. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
And your email is chandler@legalgraphicworks.com, yes?
Correct. Yes. Right. And then Liz is Elizabeth@legalgraphicworks.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time with us today, and looking forward to hearing some more stories from the mock courtroom.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
If you'd like to appear on Courtside Convo, send us an email or visit us at legalgraphicworks.com. Look for new episodes every Thursday on the Legal Graphic Works YouTube channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a show. Thanks for watching.